What? Who? Were they shot?
Hey, Matthew.
Were they shot?
Yes.
Do you know the story of the Menendez brothers? Two young men who were convicted of brutally murdering their wealthy parents? Have you ever wondered what could drive someone to commit such a horrific act? In August 1989, Lyle and Erik Menendez brutally murdered their wealthy parents in their Beverly Hills home. But what led these young men to commit such a horrific act? Why did it take so long for the truth to come to light? And what role did their confessions? Join us as we dive deep into the complexities of this infamous case and explore the disturbing details that still haunt the public to this day. Jose Menendez was born on May 6, 1944, in Havana, Cuba. He moved to the United States at the age of 16 during the Cuban Revolution. A bright student, he attended Southern Illinois University, where he met his future wife, Mary Louise "Kitty" Anderson. The couple married in 1963 and eventually settled in New York City, where Jose pursued a degree in accounting at Queens College. Over the years, Jose climbed the corporate ladder, becoming an executive at Hertz Corporation and later RCA Records before taking on the role of CEO at Live Entertainment. His success allowed the family to live a life of luxury, moving from New Jersey to California. The Menendez family had two sons, Lyle, born on January 10, 1968, and Erik, born on November 27, 1970. The brothers were raised in privilege but exhibited troubling behavior. While Erik displayed a talent for tennis, ranking 44th nationally as a junior, Lyle struggled academically and was suspended from Princeton University for plagiarism. The brothers' teenage years were marred by rebellion. In 1988, they committed a series of burglaries in their Calabasas neighborhood, stealing over $100,000 in cash and valuables. Jose, furious over their actions, moved the family to Beverly Hills to start anew. In high school, Erik co-wrote a screenplay with a friend, eerily foreshadowing real-life events. Titled Friends, the story revolved around a wealthy young man who murders his parents to inherit their fortune. The script, dismissed at the time as a creative exercise, would later serve as a haunting prelude to the tragedy that unfolded. On August 18, 1989, just days before the murders, Lyle and Erik purchased two 12-gauge Mossberg shotguns at a sporting goods store in San Diego, using a stolen ID. On the night of the crime, Jose and Kitty were relaxing in the den, watching The Spy Who Loved Me. Without warning, the brothers entered the room and opened fire. Jose was shot 6 times, including a fatal blast to the back of his head. Kitty, who attempted to crawl away, was shot 10 times, with the final shot to her face being described as execution style. After the murders, the brothers acted to cover their tracks. They disposed of their blood-stained clothing and buried the shotguns along Mulholland Drive. To create an alibi, they attempted to buy tickets to the movie Batman, but abandoned the plan due to timestamp issues. Instead, they attended a local festival. Returning home later that night, Lyle made a dramatic 911 call, claiming they had just discovered their parents' bodies. The police arrived to find a gruesome scene. Blood and brain matter were splattered across the room, with Jose and Kitty's bodies barely recognizable. Despite the brutality, the police initially treated the crime as a possible mob hit, given Jose's business dealings and the execution-style killings. In the months following the murders, Lyle and Erik began spending extravagantly, drawing suspicion. They squandered approximately $700,000 on luxury items, including Rolex watches, a Porsche, and overseas trips. Lyle even purchased a restaurant in New Jersey. Their lavish lifestyle, coupled with their attendance at high-profile events like a New York Knicks game, raised eyebrows among investigators. Despite these red flags, the brothers maintained their innocence, suggesting to police that the killings might have been business-related. The breakthrough in the case came when Erik confided in his psychologist, Dr. Jerome Oziel. During therapy sessions, Erik admitted to the murders. Oziel, fearing for his safety, recorded these confessions. He later shared the information with his mistress, Judalyn Smith, who went to the police. Meanwhile, investigators learned that Lyle had destroyed evidence, including a potential new will from Jose, which may have left the brothers with less inheritance. Additional suspicion arose from Erik's high school friend, Craig Signorelli, who revealed the existence of their screenplay Friends and recounted Erik's vague confessions. Lyle was arrested on March 8, 1990, outside the family's Beverly Hills home. Erik, who had fled to Israel, returned voluntarily 3 days later and surrendered to the authorities. In August 1990, Judge James Albrecht ruled that tapes of conversations between Erik and his psychologist, Jerome Oziel, were admissible as evidence after Oziel claimed that Lyle threatened him, which violated doctor-patient privilege. This decision was appealed, causing the proceedings to be delayed for 2 years. In August 1992, the California Supreme Court ruled that most of the tapes could be used, with the exception of one in which Erik discussed the murders. Following this ruling, a grand jury in Los Angeles issued indictments in December 1992, charging the brothers with the murders of their parents. Although the special circumstances related to financial gain were excluded, they were charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances for lying in wait, making them eligible for the death penalty. The brothers were represented by defense attorneys Leslie Abramson for Erik and Jill Lansing for Lyle in the first trial, 1993 to 1994. They claimed they killed their parents in self-defense after years of abuse, including sexual abuse by their father, Jose Menendez, who was described as a cruel and abusive perfectionist. Their mother, Kitty, was depicted as a mentally unstable alcoholic who enabled Jose's behavior. Lyle testified that the abuse started when he was 6 years old, while Erik alleged the abuse continued into adulthood. The brothers said they purchased shotguns for protection, and the final confrontation occurred on August 20th, 1989, when Jose allegedly closed the den door, which Erik found unusual. Fearing for their lives, they shot their parents, with Erik describing how he began firing as he entered the room. The prosecution, however, argued that there was no evidence of immediate danger, pointing out that the brothers had bought the shotguns in advance, which contradicted their self-defense claim. The prosecution also used tapes of the brothers' therapy sessions, where they reportedly said they had planned the murders. Furthermore, the prosecution suggested that the sexual abuse claims were fabricated, noting that the brothers never mentioned abuse until after the murders and when a legal defense was being prepared. They also pointed to inconsistencies in the brothers' statements, including Lyle's staged 911 call, designed to showcase his acting skills. The defense argued that much of the information from the tapes was influenced by their psychologist, who was accused of manipulating them. Despite the defense's arguments, the jury was divided by gender, with female jurors leaning towards voluntary manslaughter and male jurors advocating for first-degree murder. After a month of deliberations, the trial ended in a mistrial due to deadlocked juries. A retrial was scheduled, and the second trial, 1995 to 1996, was less publicized, partly due to Judge Stanley Weisberg's decision to exclude cameras from the courtroom. In the second trial, Erik testified for 15 days about the abuse, and Lyle's ex-fiancée testified that he had tried to bribe her to lie for him in the first trial. Lyle did not testify in the second trial, and prosecutors presented a letter allegedly written by him, detailing how he wanted a friend to testify on his behalf during the first trial. The defense introduced expert witnesses who suggested Erik had PTSD, supporting his claims of abuse. However, the prosecution argued that Erik had shown no signs of learned helplessness because he had purchased guns and practiced shooting. Judge Weisberg ruled that there was insufficient evidence to support the claim that the brothers were in imminent danger when they killed their parents. Although the defense could argue that Jose might have provoked the killing, it was not sufficient to justify the murder of Kitty, who was shot after Jose. The defense also presented evidence that the brothers sought to access their parents' money soon after the murders, with Lyle allegedly opening a safe containing no will. Both brothers were eventually convicted of first-degree murder with special circumstances for lying in wait and conspiracy to commit murder. In the penalty phase, they were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The brothers attempted to file motions for a mistrial, citing irreversible damage caused during the penalty phase and ineffective representation, but the motions were denied. They were both sentenced on July 2, 1996, to life in prison with no chance of parole. In 2018, Lyle was moved to the same housing unit as Erik for the first time in over 20 years. The brothers were reunited, and Lyle, who had developed an interest in prison reform, launched the Green Space Project to improve the prison environment. In 2024, Lyle earned a bachelor's degree in sociology from the University of California, Irvine, through a special program for inmates. The brothers' convictions and sentences were upheld by the California Court of Appeal in 1998, and their attempts for further appeals were unsuccessful, with petitions for habeas corpus being denied. However, in May 2023, they requested a new hearing based on a claim that their father had sexually assaulted former Menudo member Roy Rosselló. This led to Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon reviewing their case, with an announcement on October 3, 2024, that he was recommending a resentencing which would make the brothers eligible for parole. The resentencing trial was initially scheduled for December 2024, but was postponed until January 2025. Both brothers had marriages while incarcerated. Lyle married Anna Erickson in 1996, though they divorced in 2001. He remarried in 2003 to Rebecca Sneed. Erik married Tammy Ruth Sackerman in 1999 in a prison ceremony, and although they faced the challenges of prison life, Tammy later described their relationship as something very special. Despite their ongoing legal battles and attempts for parole, the Menendez brothers' story continues to captivate the public, raising questions about justice, family dynamics, and the impact of abuse. That's all for this video. We hope you have found this video informative and interesting. What do you think? Do you believe the Menendez brothers were justified in their actions, or should they have been held accountable for their crime? Let us know in the comments section. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon for more interesting videos like this. Thank you for watching our video.